So they're going through the Tough Enough tournament thing, and one of the things they had the guys do that day was eating plates of pasta all day long and doing wind sprints up the ramp and all this stuff, getting these guys all blown up. And then the final came to TV. On TV, they had them do burpees or the squat thrusts, and they keep going until there was one man left, and there were two guys left, and I want to say it was Puder, who was in great shape, he's still going, and I want to say it was Dan Rodemeyer. Was the other one?
Or Nowinski? Was Nowinski in there?
Oh, he was in it too, but he wasn't one of the last guys left.
Okay.
And then we get, okay, get rid of the blonde guy. So we're looking, they're both blonde, but Puder was more blonde than everybody. So we said, okay, Puder, you're out. Mind you, we picked the wrong blonde guy. So then after
I like making the wrong one-legged guy.
Yes, exactly.
Which is one of the greatest stories ever.
Oh my goodness. So basically we eliminated the wrong guy and we left the wrong guy in the ring, and his reward was he gets to have an amateur wrestling match with an Olympic gold medalist after getting blown up doing burpees for like whatever.
But you said the important thing, an amateur match.
Right, amateur match.
Yeah.
So, you know, of course they start, and of course Kurt makes quick work of this poor kid, just ties him up in knots and stuff like that. And, you know, we raise Kurt's hand the whole bit. Charles and I are in the ring. And then Kurt just looks over at the rest of the guys on the floor and says, anybody else want to give it a shot? And I looked at Al Snow, who is, you know, the Tough Enough trainer. And he looked at me and went, Kurt's going to do what Kurt's going to do. So Puder puts his hand up. And Kurt goes, okay, you get in here. And I'm looking at Al going, what do you do? He's not going to stop Kurt. Kurt's going to do what he's going to do. So, okay, here we go, guys. Amateur match. Let's go. So they get into it, and they're really going at it. And then they get tied up in the corner. And somehow Puder got what I later found out was a key lock or a kimura, like a legit shoot submission. Like if you don't tap, he's going to take your arm, basically kind of hold on Kurt. And I didn't realize it was that bad at the time, but I knew it wasn't good. So in my mind, all I could think is, how do we get out of this darn thing? So when they fell to the ground, Kurt fell on top of them, still in that hammer lock, in that key lock. And it wasn't like, okay, I'm waiting for this opportunity. Once they hit the ground, I saw they were down, and I just counted. I counted 3. And that was it. End of the match. And then Kurt got up and got in his face, gave him a whole bunch of heck and stuff like that. And to Puder's credit, he was like, yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. And I looked at Al, he looked at me, he nodded. And then I didn't know what was going to happen. So I went back to Gorilla. And as I was walking through Gorilla, I see Mr. Brisco there, and he just looks at me and he goes, that's all he did. Little thumbs up as I walked by, and that was it. And then I get to the back and I run into Fit, and Fit goes, what happened there? I said, I don't know. He just went into business for himself and just did that. He said, who told you to count? I said, nobody. I just did it. Without thinking. I just did it. He said, well, you probably saved Angle's arm. And I went, is it that bad? Like, again, not being an MMA guy, I didn't know the severity of the hold. I found that out afterwards.
Yeah, and I watched that whole event today, getting ready for the show today, and how Kurt Angle described it and how Puder described it. Kurt wasn't expecting any submissions. It was an amateur match. You know? Right. And I don't know if Puder thought there were any restrictions at all, you know, in defense of Daniel Puder. So Kurt wasn't expecting a Kimura, wasn't expecting anything because he was expecting an amateur match.
Right. And I blame myself because being an amateur match, you only have to count 1.
Yeah. And you got a lot of heat for that. Not real heat, but you know, well, why do you count 2 if it's a professional match? You know, well, you counted 1, you counted out just out of habit. You hit that second time there, but
oh yeah,
you know, but you did the right thing. Everything was done right.
I'm wired pro wrestling, so everything's a 3. You know what I mean? It's just the way I'm wired. So
yeah,
but yeah, it's
all day long. I bitched about that match because Kurt was just coming off a severe broken freaking neck, I believe it was, or his shoulder. Something was bad with Kurt. They rushed him back through Kurt's insistence. I'm ready to go, even though he wasn't ready to go. And all day long, I said, guys, something bad's going to happen. I remember before it even went to the ring, I was in Vince's face saying, hey, man, we shouldn't be doing this stuff. Well, it's too late now. We're already decided we're doing it. And I'm bitching, I'm screaming, I'm hollering like crazy. And I think I'm on the headset hollering at you too, but you'd already made the decision to count. So you did the right thing.